We open with a vivid moment. "I don't need success. I live on my own terms," he said, sipping cheap whiskey in a rented room, blaming the world for every missed opportunity. He wasn't broke by accident. He was broke with conviction, proud of his struggle, proud of being different. But not once did he ask if his version of truth was just an excuse for never evolving. This story instantly connects with viewers. Many have either met someone like this, or have been that person. It gently but directly challenges the viewer to ask themselves, what if the story you've told yourself about why you're not where you want to be is the very reason you'll stay there? Failure isn't always about money. It can be emotional, holding on to bitterness or numbness for years. It can be relational, repeating toxic patterns, blaming others, and destroying trust. Failure can also be spiritual, remaining stagnant in mindset for decades, never growing. Then there's the failure of curiosity, when a person loses their desire to learn, adapt, or evolve. You can have a stable job and still be failing. You can hold a degree and still be blind. Failure is rarely loud. It's the quiet comfort zone that slowly becomes a coffin. This idea prompts deep reflection. It forces people to ask, am I failing in a way I've just never admitted? Some people cling to the illusion of certainty, even when their lives offer no proof that their beliefs work. They equate opinions with truths, fearing embarrassment more than inaccuracy. Ego becomes identity. If they change their beliefs, they fear they'll lose themselves. Like the person who says, hard work doesn't matter, the system is rigged, while making no effort to evolve. Or the one who claims, I don't need anyone, yet feels deeply lonely. There's a strange emotional comfort in being certain, even when life proves you wrong. Many would rather stay wrong forever than admit they were wrong once. Small wins often blind people to larger failures. A single viral post, a one-time bonus, or brief praise becomes armor that protects fragile egos. These minor victories are used to justify stagnation. A man who once made $5,000 in crypto may refuse any job afterward. A woman praised a decade ago may avoid all criticism. A creator with one viral video might now dismiss every piece of feedback as jealousy. These isolated moments become mental prisons. Sometimes, success is the most dangerous form of failure, because it makes you stop growing. Take Ravi, a 43-year-old man, still in the same data entry job he started at 22. He blames office politics, fake people, and the system. He never upskilled, never learned. He believes he's the smartest in the room, even as everyone else moves on. He proudly says, I never compromised, yet lives paycheck to paycheck, emotionally isolated, quietly bitter. But in his mind he sleeps peacefully, because he believes he's right, and the world is wrong. Denial doesn't always look like rage. Sometimes, it looks like calm confidence inside a broken system. Cognitive biases silently destroy growth. The Dunning-Kruger effect explains how people with low ability often overestimate their competence. Like someone who mismanages money, yet thinks they know more than an expert, after watching a few YouTube videos. The less they know, the more confident they feel, because they don't know enough to see their own ignorance. Then there's confirmation bias. People seek information that agrees with their worldview and reject anything that challenges it. Someone who believes life is unfair will only notice injustice, ignoring kindness. And the sunk cost fallacy. People stick to bad decisions just because they've already invested time or energy, like staying in a toxic relationship for 7 years, because they don't want to admit it was all a mistake. Why is admitting you're wrong so hard? Because for many, ego and identity are fused. If they built their identity around a belief, then admitting they were wrong feels like personal collapse. Like John, who spent 20 years believing he was the smartest man in the room. When a younger colleague exposed his mistake, it didn't just sting, it shattered him. It's not about being incorrect, it's about losing the image he built of himself. Being right triggers a neurochemical reward system. Every like, every agreement on social media releases dopamine. This emotional high makes people addicted to validation. They'll defend even incorrect beliefs, not because they're malicious, but because they're chasing the emotional payoff. One tweet gets applause, and now they'll die on that hill, even if it's wrong. Consider Emma. She had potential to become an executive, but always blamed colleagues, company politics, and bad luck. She never reflected on her own lack of initiative, poor communication, or resistance to change. Admitting fault felt like admitting she'd wasted years, and that fear kept her stuck. Only when a mentor told her, "If you keep blaming everyone, you'll never see the chance you're missing," did she begin to awaken. Failure can be passed down through generations. Families and cultures condition people to accept limitations as truth. Phrases like "money doesn't grow on trees," or "we're just not meant to be rich," program children into mediocrity. Maria worked hard all her life, just as her parents taught her, but she never moved forward, because no one ever taught her to evolve beyond survival. Failure is often silent. It hides behind daily habits. The lack of curiosity, the refusal to learn anything new, the defensiveness when challenged. Feedback feels like an attack, not a gift. Every disagreement becomes personal, but maybe the wound isn't new. It's just unhealed. Smart people hear feedback and think, "This helps me grow," but the stuck react with anger, excuses, or avoidance. Blame is comforting. It protects the ego. It creates a fantasy. It's not me, it's them. People blame society, parents, bosses, luck. But behind every chronic blamer is someone terrified of change, because if it's their fault, they'd have to do something about it. Modern hustle culture often disguises stagnation. People work endlessly, brag about 16-hour days, but never evolve. Toxic positivity, "everything happens for a reason," can numb people into complacency. Productivity becomes theater. The point of work isn't to be busy, it's to get better. To help self-diagnose, a gentle quiz offers reflection. Do you get defensive when someone challenges your opinion? Are you busy but not growing? Do you seek validation instead of growth? If you answered yes to several, it doesn't mean you're doomed. It means now you're aware, and awareness is the beginning of change. Time is the ultimate cost. Refusing to admit you're wrong doesn't just delay progress, it wastes years. Like Kunal, who rejected education but never built anything of his own. He now watches peers thrive while he's still figuring it out. And then there are the relationships. Needing to be right ruins connection. Interrupting, correcting, refusing to listen. These behaviors push loved ones away. Like Anita, who rejected her sister's help until both the business and the relationship collapsed. Mental health also suffers. People who constantly defend failure live with anxiety, regret, and emotional exhaustion. Arman, an entrepreneur, thought talent was enough. He ignored mentors, customers, and investors until his startup collapsed. It wasn't lack of ability, it was ego. When pride rules, life stands still. The need to be right becomes a cage. Opportunities pass. Growth halts. The person keeps rewinding the past, clinging to one idea. You can protect your pride, or your future. Never both. Truly intelligent people listen more than they speak. They pause, reflect, and ask questions to learn, not to argue. They measure progress through results, not feelings. They chase growth, not validation. They want to be proven wrong, because that's how they get better. Like Taha, a dropout who spent years blaming the system. One podcast quote shattered his illusion. "You're not stuck because of the system. You're stuck because you keep defending your limitations." He started over, listened more, asked for help, and rebuilt his life. Real intelligence isn't how fast you think, it's how deeply you reflect. Smart people ask, "Where might I be wrong?" They regulate emotions, reflect before reacting, and see being wrong as an opportunity. Humility is the foundation of growth. It's not weakness, it's the courage to say, "I don't know everything." It opens doors to learning and connection. Facing hard truths doesn't have to break you, it can rebuild you. Journal your emotions, pause before reacting, and separate your worth from your mistakes. Feedback isn't an attack, it's a mirror. Failure is just feedback. It doesn't say, "You're a loser." It says, "Try something else." Growth is about letting go of old labels. You're not the smart one, or the rebel. You're someone who evolves. Rebuild your identity around progress, not pride. Learn to love being wrong. It's how you grow. Curiosity replaces certainty. The moment you admit what didn't work, you clear space to build something that does. Ground zero is not the end, it's a beginning. Like Zoya, who failed in business and relationships for years. One quote changed her. If everyone is the problem, you might be the pattern. She took responsibility, healed, learned, and now helps others do the same. You can change the ending of your story. Use your past as a mirror. Use your humility as fuel. You don't need to be the smartest, just the most honest with yourself. Now pause. Ask yourself, who were you in this story? The person stuck in pride, the one afraid of feedback, the one defending failure. This wasn't about others. It was a map for you. If you saw yourself in the signs, good. That means you're ready. What if every failure was a misalignment? What if you didn't fail? You just refused to become who you were meant to be. Freedom isn't about being right. It's about being real. So don't let this just be content. Let it be your compass. Reflect. Ask for feedback. Stay curious. Let go of needing to prove. You're not here to impress. You're here to improve. Growth is quiet. It happens in moments no one sees. You'll fall back sometimes, but now, you'll catch yourself. You don't need to be perfect. Just open. Because every time you choose growth over ego, you rewrite your story. There is no shame in where you've been, only power in where you're going. You have what you need now: awareness, tools, and permission. When you grow, others grow too. You become proof that it's never too late. So here's to being wrong, being real, and becoming everything they said you couldn't. Not because you were always right, but because you were brave enough to change.